We're getting brand new photos of the suspected gunman behind the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Now, you can see the suspect on your screen right now, to the left of your screen, without a mask and smiling. To the right, a little bit more of his facial features from the lower half. And at this hour, the manhunt is still actively underway, and investigators are still trying to piece together a possible motive. And now a new report revealing that chilling messages were discovered on the bullet casings found at the scene. Alexis McAdams has the latest, has been following this since minute one. Alexis, what have we been learning?
Hey, Emily. Well, we know, right, from being around here right near Fox News headquarters, there are lots of cameras here in Midtown Manhattan. And there were also some cameras nearby in the Upper West Side where I'm told by a police source those new videos and photos were taken. So I want to pull them up there on your screen because you can really see this guy's face now. The New York Post is reporting that those photos were taken at a nearby hostel where they believe this gunman was staying. As you mentioned, he's got that green jacket on and the black mask pulled down. That matches what he was wearing the morning of this shooting just yesterday when he killed this father of two and husband. That was exactly the jacket. And then you can see him there, too, where the hood's pulled down a little bit and he's got a backpack on. Back out here live, there's new pieces of evidence that just keep rolling in. So for everyone watching at home that weren't sure if they were going to be able to track this killer down, they're getting pretty close to it from what we're hearing on the ground because they have his face. And then they also have some DNA evidence that they're working on to process, we're told by two police sources. But one of the things, Emily, that's new is that there were some etched in markings and messages on those bullets that were found here at the Hilton behind me. Pull those up there. That's deny, depose, and defend. Those were the words that they're saying from the police department they found on the shell casings left behind. The words are similar to a title of a book that condemns the insurance business. The book is called Delay, Deny, and Defend, so it's a little bit different, but you kind of get the gist there. It was written back in 2010 and just rips the insurance industry for their lack of coverage for many Americans. The shooting was caught on camera. That was the first initial evidence they had in the case. You can see the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, walking there. Then he shot. We freeze it, but he was actually hit in the leg. He kind of turned around and looked at that gunman. The guy didn't stop shooting. He shot him again, this time in the chest. We were told he was waiting there for Brian Thompson. I want to pull up some new other photos that we've been getting into the newsroom. This is the gunman there for anyone watching at home that might recognize him. He was at a Starbucks before he went to this shooting scene. We were told he bought a drink, threw something out in the trash, and that's what they're using right now to try and go through that evidence to track him down. Brian Thompson led one of the biggest health insurers in the country. He worked for United Healthcare for about 20 years. The 50-year-old was a dad of two young boys who are in high school out in Minneapolis area, and he was also a husband. Thompson was only supposed to be here in New York for a couple of days because he was supposed to speak at this Investors Day conference at the Hilton Hotel in Midtown, and his visit ended here with his death. And back out here live, you just gotta think too for a second. We're right before the holidays in New York City and all across the country, and this mom and these two sons find out, Emily, in Minneapolis, you know, their dad's not coming home from a business trip. He left to fly here on Monday. So it's really a sad situation as we do try to track this killer down. He did have threats against him. Outlets were told by his wife. What were those threats? Were they about his job? Were they about United Healthcare? We're not sure just yet, Emily.
Yeah, Alexis, devastating for the family, frightening for those of us here in New York City. We know you are on it. You are on that breaking news and with your tight sources there at NYPD and beyond. So we'll be sure to check back in as developments arise, Alexis. Haley, all right, so we know now, and then so much we don't know now as well. What are your thoughts?
So the New York Times obtained surveillance video that shows this individual being in the area for about 10 minutes before. Picks up the Starbucks, as Alexis said, bought a drink. Who buys a drink and then says, let's go off someone or kill someone? Like, this is a deranged person. And we know kills Brian Thompson at 6:46 a.m. My question is, how did he know Brian Thompson was going to be walking down the street? How did he know that Brian Thompson was staying at a hotel across the street and be walking into the Hilton? How did he know? Maybe
Investor
Cheryl
Day.
knows she's...
Actually, it's
well, we know it was
Day,
Investor Day, but
right.
how do you know he's not staying at the Hilton Hotel for the Investor Day? He seemed to have some awareness.
Because he was right by the hotel. And that individual, according to the NYPD, had been, in the surveillance video, had been waiting outside for some time, out in the cold, at least. So waiting, and knew exactly who, he knew who the target was, let's be clear. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to...
But no, how did he know where he was staying is my question. At the hotel across the street versus at the Investors Complex.
Yeah, there's so many questions. And we live here. I mean, it's frightening. Yeah. And that was before 1 million people came for the Rockefeller tree lighting. This is a huge insurance company, and there's a lot of theories floating around. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, and obviously we're not going to speculate, but I mean, yes, of course, working at the largest insurance company in America, it was a personal vendetta. Nobody goes up and point blank assassinates somebody on the street unless you're out to get that person. Whether they knew each other, that's questionable. We don't obviously know. I will say this, the NYPD will find this guy if he hasn't committed suicide already. That theory has actually floated around that he could have potentially committed suicide by now. But he's not like the egotistic type of killer, you know, like school shooters who basically want to die by death by cop, where they will, you know, confront a cop and they want to go out in a blaze. That's not this guy. And is he a trained assassin? Well, he was pretty good on the gun because he was able to fix it in seconds after it jammed. But all of his footsteps basically leave such a trail that he's not a professional assassin. So there's a lot to be gleaned from this.
Yeah, I think they keep putting his picture up there. They're going to find him. There are too many people that will recognize him, given those photos. The NYPD is the best. They got the best on the case. Give them a few more hours or a few more days. They'll find him. They'll get him. They'll capture him.
There's a DOJ landscape here, too, Cheryl.
There is. There's a couple of things there. First off, Brian Thompson, like many executives of large corporations, usually travels with security. He had traveled with security. He didn't have security yesterday morning. He was set to take the stage just after 8. There was a big the breakfast was happening at the Hilton. That's one thing. The other side of this, though, is that back in April at their company headquarters, there was a huge protest. And it was a very organized protest. It was large. And it was basically, they were saying it was about claims denial. I want to point that out in all of this. And real quick, as far as the DOJ side, Brian Thompson and several of his colleagues, including the chairman of the company, they made some stock sales back in February, 2 weeks, and this is according to Crane's New York Business, 2 weeks before the antitrust DOJ action was actually announced. There's a lot of other pieces to this story that are unfolding.
Well, we will keep you updated on it all as they develop and as we solidify these facts. Now, hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.